Well, welcome to another edition of Digging In. Momentarily, this is going to be fun. We're going to dig in just ahead of game one between the Hurricanes and Rangers with Jordan and Marc Staal. They're going to go at each other in the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is a qualification round for the second time in their NHL careers. And we're able to do so with Jordan and Marc. Thanks and gratitude to our sponsors. Our longtime sponsor, Allstate Fastener Corporation, one of the true leading fastener distributors in the world. Unlimited product range, any type of nut, bolt, screw, you can name it. AllStateFastener.com. That's how you can find out more. And the Vintage Wine Company. If you're in the state of Michigan, you have any type of wholesale nectar of the gods needs, you just go to VWCMI.com and trust me, you're covered. So thank you to Allstate Fastener and the Vintage Wine Company, longtime sponsors. And this is pretty cool. We have a new sponsor for this Digging In episode, Data 443 Software. I mean, let me tell you, prior to getting involved in social media and doing this podcast, I mean, there's a reason I have these cowboy boots. I mean, I should have been born in the Wild West with Doc Holliday, Who's Your Huckleberry, Tombstone, nothing about tech. But now that I'm starting to learn, these guys, it's pretty darn cutting edge. Oh, man, when it comes to all things data security, pretty sweet. In pro sports, they're involved when it comes to developing a playbook for players, coaches, anybody in an organization, planning, management, knowing where you need to be. All you got to do is look at your phone. Even a moron like me can figure that out. You can learn more, and they're big caniacs. These guys are at Data 443, which is always a gigantic plus. You can learn more about them. Data at 443.com. So let's dig in. Thanks to our great sponsors, and we've reduced our song just so we can get right to the beginning of the show more quickly. So let's hear my brother's catchy tune, and then Jordan and Marc Staal.
Lace them up, let's start the show. We're digging in with Tripp. 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 We're digging in with Tripp today, yeah.
Oh, is this ever exciting? Another episode of Digging In, and two of my dear friends, long-standing dear friends, and we always start it by asking our contestants to define digging in. And I will start with the older of the two brothers. They're about a year and a half apart in age. So Marc Staal, he gets the first crack. Marc, great to see you. How do you define digging in?
Digging in. Going to the next level. That's it. Just got to get there. Or if I'm strictly talking about your show, just eliteness.
Well, we'll get to it more as we unfold.
Next level eliteness.
Brady Shea did confirm the fact that you have the best sense of humor in the family, as did your father, Henry, when I talked to him this morning. I agree. As Henry said, you know how to push all the right buttons. Okay, Jordan, we go to you, the Gronk. How do you define digging in?
Digging in for me would be when you finally hit that adversity and you got to make sure that you got to get through it, is you put your feet to the ground, you dig in a little bit more and push through anything that comes your way.
Great stuff, boys. You're in the same hotel in the bubble. Since you both arrived Sunday night, have you been able to see each other at all, or has it just been on Zooms like this, or have you actually run into each other in the lobby or elsewhere?
We ran into
each other,
a couple times.
We ran into each other outside of testing the one day. I was getting my nose swabbed. That was about it.
That's a painful test. That is a painful test. I've had it once. Let's start with you, Jordan, here. What have you done so far with your downtime in the bubble?
Not a whole lot. I mean, to be honest, it's been kind of fun just hanging out with the boys. For one, is you kind of have allowance room, and whether it's cards or just watching some TV together or whatever, just hanging. That's more or less been the brunt of it. And then some FaceTime with the family, some Timmy Hortons out on the patio in the sun to get some vitamin D that we're lacking right now. But that's pretty much been it. Just mastering and killing time.
Mark, what have you been doing?
Playing a lot of poker. A lot of cards have been played over the last few days. Yeah, that's kind of about it. I mean, we actually had Hank Lundqvist play a little live music for us last night during the game. It was a beautiful thing. He was playing some classic rock while we were playing. He had a little tip jar going. It was good. So we're finding time to keep each other entertained. That's for sure.
Can Henrik Zoolander Lundqvist not just play but sing as well?
He will not sing. He was requesting us to sing, actually. So he got tired of it. No one wanted to sing, so he left. But he won't sing, but he'll play for as long as you want.
Jordo, anybody on your hockey club have? I mean, I remember back the Stanley Cup year, and that's when you were part of the draft lottery. So you visited that finals with the Oilers and the Canes. Brett Hedican, tremendous musical talent. He can play the guitar and sing. Anybody on your club right now have any musical talents?
Apparently, the hottest guy in the NHL right now, Geeks, is supposed to be able to strum pretty good on the guitar. Other than that, I haven't heard a whole lot of musical talent. I'm working on the piano right now as my quarantine time killer. I got about 4 notes in, and that's as far as I've gotten. So other than that, I think Geeks can strum them and sing apparently too. So we're going to try to get him a guitar here soon.
Good to see you tickling the ivories. Mark, what did you play any instruments growing up with Jordan and Jared and Eric in Thunder Bay?
No, we weren't exactly a musical type family growing up, I would say. And I don't know how Jordan plays. How he's going to play piano. His fingers are too big. He hits 2 keys at a time. It'd just be absolutely
just like my soft hands out on the ice.
Oh yeah, tickling ivory.
Sure. I can pick whatever key you want. I'll play it for you.
Well, it's too bad you can't talk to Liberace, big Caniac, the way tips to tickle the ivories. And boys, I was talking to Henry today, your dad, and you guys played. Was it 2 years together when Jordan, you were 7, Mark 8, and then 8 and 9 with the Norwest Stars that you were actually teammates? What do you remember about that when you were actually playing together in Thunder Bay? Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Jordan being really good at hockey and play and being good enough to play with all my friends. So being an older brother immediately got me a little bit jealous and competitive at that age, obviously. But it was still, looking back, very fond memories of it, and definitely kept us pushing each other. It's why we're still doing what we're doing. It's that competitive nature we have within each other and as when we were kids. So yeah, definitely some good memories.
Jordo?
Yeah, I remember my parents just being very happy that we were on the same team, so they didn't have to go to as many rinks and practices. And then I mean, it was basically Mark and all his buddies, so I kind of just soaked it all in and watched the dumb redhead just trip everyone in the room.
Well, as you've said, redheads or anybody that has a tint of red, you've been known to call me Carrot Top, have naturally excellent senses of humor. Mark, when Roddy Brindamore actually dug in some time ago, his dad actually convinced him, I think when he was 12, 13, to play defense. And the way he sold it was that you'd get more ice time. You'd practically play half the game. Did that factor in at all to the fact that you chose defense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was like 9 or 10, and the forwards were pretty kind of set. They didn't really have any defensemen, and the coach was like, "There's only 4. You're going on at every other shift." So I was like, "That sounds good to me," and just kind of stuck. I mean, I learned to. I mean, you have the puck a lot. You see the ice. I just kind of enjoyed that part of the game, I guess, early on, and obviously it was for the best because I'm not much of a scorer, as you can tell.
Hey, hang on, Jordan. What do you remember
swung
seeing
into
it?
that position too.
Jordan, I remember because right over there, it's actually a stick from Marty Brodeur, and that was Mark's first NHL goal, and he went shelf talking about a pure goal scorer. What do you remember about where were you watching that when Mark didn't just get his first goal, but I mean, it was a beauty.
I do remember watching it on TV. I don't know exactly where I was, probably in Pitt at the time, but my memories of Mark, especially early in his career, he roasted us in Pittsburgh. It was every game. I had to talk to Fleury every time, like make sure this guy doesn't score because he seemed to score every time against us. So he was a goal scorer in my books every time we played.
I had Fleury's number early in my career.
Any particular shot location, Mark?
I beat him everywhere.
4 goals. They're all over that.
Yeah, 4 of my career 20.
Hey, Mark, I remember my dad, God rest his soul, he said to me at one point, we're coming out of the golf course, and he said, Tripp, you have to always remember, family you're born with, friends you can choose. And you guys aren't just brothers, you're best friends. Why do you think it is that the two of you, Eric and Jared, that you aren't just brothers, but you are in fact best friends?
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the game. I think if we were not all in the same, wavelength and pursuing the goal of playing in the NHL, I don't think we probably would be as tight. I think we share so much of our lives in that regard that it just creates a bond that, only we understand. Not a lot of people get to do what we do, and we get to do it every day. We've done it for a long time. So, we just have a connection of our daily life that is extremely close. So, I think we were pretty tight growing up. I think we would have been tight regardless, but us doing what we're doing has definitely made us closer. Absolutely.
Jordan?
Yeah, Mark, hit the nail on the head for sure. I think it's really what we do, and we have the same time off, we have the same schedules, the crap that you go through in life. We have a lot of similarities, so we can lean on each other a lot more in that regard, and with the game and just with the family life and the lifestyle and all that stuff. So we can only kind of grow closer as we've gotten older, where if Mark was doing taxes and punching numbers in the calculator, it just wouldn't be quite the same. Obviously we would catch up just as much, but the fact that I know what he's doing every day and the stuff that he's going through is very similar to me. It just makes the conversations a lot easier, and definitely has made us grown really close.
Well, Mark is a closet mathematician. Jordan, sticking with you, your mom and dad, both extraordinarily special people, Henry and Linda. If you had to tell me what you think and you're most proud of that you extracted in who you are from your dad and from your mom, what would you say?
Me, I would go with from my dad, his competitiveness. I think if you get him on the golf course, he's not a good golfer, but man, is he going to grind you down to the bitter end? And Mark would know that best, I think. Mark's so bad too that they actually have some good competition. But man, my dad is competitive, and you don't see it a whole lot, obviously, but on the golf course is the one thing we do play together, and you see it there, and growing up on the ice a little bit. But I would say his competitiveness has kind of creeped in. I think all 4 of us. And my mom is just her heart. I mean, she loves on everyone. She's out there to please and take care of anyone that's in her circle or anyone outside of her circle for that matter. And she's got a great heart and is willing to love on anyone.
Sure does. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, he does grind you down, and he foot wedges all over the golf course and picks up a lot of putts. But yeah, he's competitive for sure. Yeah, I would say a like I think what Jordan said about my mom about her heart and trying to take care of everyone. She was that absolutely, and I think for me, from both of them, I would say is just their work ethic. I think we watched them work extremely hard at everything they did, and I think that kind of rubbed off on us. And it was never a complaining work or I'm too tired to do this, or I can't drive you today to go here, because they just made it work. They just put their heads down and they went after it every day. And I think that type of work ethic has kind of has definitely rubbed off on us for sure.
I can tell you, in talking to your dad today, that it's good news that the sod farming business right now is booming right now during COVID times. The only thing I would say, because you guys both have the quaffs in full bloom, and I'm sitting here thinking about, and I remember it so well, Eric's first home game. I think his first road game was in Florida. So his first home game, I interviewed your mom and your dad and Jared, and Henry had so much hair back then. And I mean, it is long gone. Probably, guys, because he told me today very candidly how hard it is. This will be the second time you guys have ever played against each other in the playoffs, and how difficult it is for both your mom and your dad. Mark, is it correct? And he said when game one starts at noon on Saturday, you and Jordan, despite being best friends, you will not probably talk to each other until the end of the series. That's what he said. You played against each other one time before in 2008. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that'll be the case, I'm sure. It was the same thing when we played against each other in Pittsburgh. It doesn't change anything relationship-wise, obviously, but we're going to go out there and compete and play hard, and no matter what happens. So it makes it easier when you're in it with your team and you're just focused on what you're trying to do and trying to win. And you hope that you're on the smiling end of the handshake at the end of the thing, and we'll see what happens.
Anything to add to that, Jordo?
Nope, that'll be pretty much it. Everyone in this family has a goal of winning the cup, and it's not too many times you get the opportunity. Obviously, all the brothers haven't been in the playoffs in a long time, so it's good to see all three of us in the mix, and odds are better. So we're all going to try to find a way to get there.
Before we keep going with this current exciting playoff starting Saturday, Mark, well, you've had some phenomenal runs. I remember your run to the finals against LA, just how much of a workhorse you were. What do you remember most about Jordan in the playoffs as a Hurricane last year, late in the Washington series, that phenomenal, the hands that he's now working on the piano with, his overtime winner, game one against the Islanders. What do you remember about watching those games? Sure, you had to be nervous and seeing your brother in action.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was the first time in a while that I actually wasn't in the playoffs, so I was just a fan. I had no skin in the game at all, other than cheering on Jordan. And I actually went to every Islander game on the island because I was in Connecticut, so I would drive down and watch. And first time ever watching a live playoff game from the stands, which was a pretty cool experience for me. And I was there when he scored. So yeah, it was a ton of fun. I mean, I was just having a blast, kind of watching, cheering on, being a fan. I haven't done that before, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got to, I felt like a little nerdy kid after the game, waiting for him and shaking his hand, saying good game, seeing the boys, like that kind of thing. So, I was bringing friends to the game. So yeah, it was fun. I mean, obviously I wanted to be there and compete and be with them, but it was cool to see the run they had, and going to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Jordo, did you, whether it be Washington or then the Islanders or Boston, the conference finals, did you pick Mark's brain at all about tendencies for any of those opponents, throughout the spring last year?
Yeah, I mean, like we pick each other's brains about a lot of things. So, he's been in this division obviously for a long time, his whole career. So he's seen a lot of those teams probably way too much than he'd like sometimes. And, and including myself. So there's always different stuff we talk about with different players and different teams and how they work. And at that moment, I'm sure I was more in the zone and just getting through with the boys and try to win some games.
You're Jordo, sticking with you. You're in the running for the nicest guy on the planet. Okay, Brooks Orpik told me, okay, you want to cup with him?
Brooksy.
Yeah, he told me during that series, after one morning skate, he said, Tripp, Jordo is practically too much to handle on any night. But if he ever gets angry, you might as well not even try to handle him. How do you develop an edge playing against Marc Staal and the New York Rangers? Let's say you guys are battling in the corner.
Yeah, that's it's going to be the challenge. And that's when that competitiveness has got to kick in, and who wants it more. So it's going to be there's going to be times we'll be grinding up there, I'm sure, and we'll have some good battles. So I'm excited for it. That's where it just turns into just the game and worrying about winning games and helping your team win and winning for the boys. So I think you just got to focus on that stuff and playing in the moment and letting all that other stuff kind of slide away.
Marc, I can see the way you've carved me over the years. Your one-liners are outstanding. Do you chirp Jordan or Eric, or do you guys, when those competitive juices get going, do you guys say much to each other on the ice, or is it a mute fest?
We're not overly vocal. I think for as much as I like to rib guys in the dressing room and off the ice, when I'm on the ice, I'm generally pretty quiet unless something needs to be said or you're in a little scrum. But during the playoffs, I'm sure it's going to be pretty much silent. We're just going to be trying to grind and be as competitive as possible. So, we'll see. The no fans thing is going to be crazy. It's going to be like, it's going to be talking. You'll hear everything, and there's not going to be that like crowd momentum and all those things that play into it. So it's the on ice mood during a playoff game. It's going to be very different. Kind of excited to see what that's going to be about.
Marc, you can hear everything with no fans with regards to communication. Jordan, say Marc's got the puck in the corner from a decoy standpoint. I asked Brady Shea, who raved about, and he's right, about Marc's sense of humor a couple weeks ago digging in. Are there any names, say Marc's got the puck, that you could, call him and he's going to think, oh yeah, he's on my team, and all of a sudden he puts a pizza right on your tape for a great day?
If it happens, I'll blame it on that. So,
yeah, that's the right word. Yeah. No, he's too smart for that, but I'll try.
Jordo, I want to ask you both this question. Two teams that clearly have outstanding chemistry as a group. As the captain of the Hurricanes, what makes you most proud of your club going into game one?
It's been our staple, I think, for since Roddy came. I think it's always been that work ethic and outworking teams, and we have talent, and you see it. You see the young kids coming in, and they're good, but they bought in, and the crew has bought into the way we want to play and the work ethic we have, and that style of play of grind and that playoff style, and that's why we've moved into a pretty good run last year, and we want to try to do that again. Is just that grinding mentality of just wearing teams down and forechecking and just being tight and all over guys, and that's tough to play against them. And that's what wins you games, and that's how and the guys understood that last year, and they took that to heart. And I think we built that a little bit this year, and we were rolling into it coming in before the break. But the guys are going to try to find that quickly, and that's what I'm proud of, that work ethic that everyone's bought into.
What about you, Marc, and this exciting Ranger group? I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed watching the Rangers play this year.
Yeah, I really liked our team the last couple of months of the year. I think we came into September with a whole bunch of new guys, which is not easy, and we're one of the youngest teams in the league. So it's hard to win consistently in the NHL when you have a very young team. And I thought by the time we hit December, we started to get it, and we started to understand how to win hockey games and what gave our team success. And the guys really, bought into to playing that team game and not being selfish. And that's hard when you're a young player because you want to establish yourself and get your points and do the things you want to do. But I think we started to understand that you're going to have success if the team has success. And we started to get that the last couple of months, and we had some really good momentum going into before the pause there. And so we're looking to continue that going to playoffs. And, we're an excited group, and we're excited to get into a playoff game for sure.
I'm going to jump around a bit. Jordo, I remember it like it was yesterday. You guys had a game, you and Eric, for the Hurricanes, and it was during that game that the Rangers were playing, and Marc suffered his eye injury. I believe maybe Ronnie Francis was part of management, came down and told you and Eric, seeing the way that Marc has come all the way back makes me proud as his friend. As his brother, what makes you most proud of the way that he dealt with that personal adversity?
Yeah, that was a scary day. Obviously, I think we just finished a game, and we heard that news. And I actually, I've told Marc this too. I haven't actually watched it yet. So like, I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to know about it. I didn't want to see it. I just my stomach kind of hit my throat. And obviously, hearing some of the stories, obviously Marc can tell you the one in the doctor's room with not great bedside manner. And then battling through that, it's just like, that's digging in for me. I think that's what it is to a T, is hearing news that you don't want to hear, and finding ways to battle through it, and becoming an absolute pro from then on out too. So very very impressive injuries. They do come through when you play this long in the league. Those injuries are scarier than most. And obviously Marc battled through a really tough one, and is still battling through. I'm sure he'll tell you a few different stuff that he's had to dig in with.
That's the best line that I've heard so far in our episodes of what it truly means to dig in. Marc, what do you, the bedside story or anything that you learned about yourself, as you faced adversity, partner?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, it was scary for sure. The uncertainty was the hardest part. And then, when something like that happens, had a ton of support, obviously, with my wife and with my family. So yeah, I mean, I look at like anybody else would, it's an injury, you rehab, you come back and you play the game. I mean, that's all you want to do is play. So my goal was to get back as soon as possible. I tried that year, didn't go very well. I played one playoff game and kind of figured that I wasn't ready yet. And then, since then, it's been an adjustment, but something that, we found a way to work through, and now it's become normal. And so, yeah, I mean, I think anyone in my shoes would have done the same thing. And I'm happy that I could still play this game after something like that had happened.
No, that's digging in with a full assortment of John Deere equipment, Marc. And it is.
I agree.
Yeah, it is. And you've gotten to the point where I don't even think about the injury. That's how well you've played. And we're going to get to, I think, what a great partner you've been for Tony DeAngelo as this unfolds. Marco, you know that with Jordan's humility, he hates talking about himself. So I'm just going to ask you this question. You dug in, and thanks for doing it to Justin Williams' dig in episode. You heard what he said about Jordan as a captain. How cool was that for you to hear from a 3-time Stanley Cup winner and a Conn Smythe winner in Williams?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jordan has a respect of everyone in the league, and he's a captain for a reason. I thought he was a massive piece of their run last year. He's won a cup. He's done everything you can do in this league, and I think he commands a massive amount of respect from the guys in his room and around the league. So definitely, I don't want to give him too much confidence right now. I want to actually we gotta go. Let's go the other way. You know what I mean?
Keep it coming, Mark. Keep it coming.
I gotta wear him down. I gotta take it away before we hit the ice here, Tripp. Stop asking me fluff questions.
Okay, then Mark, all right. I'm sitting. I can remember it vividly. You guys have had 3 great agents, and the Bobby Orr, Rick Curran, and Paul Jerry McGuire Krapelka, who's now the assistant general manager in Carolina. I remember sitting with Jerry McGuire, Paul Krapelka, who was, both your agents and Eric's too at the time. And it was right at the beginning of Jordan's reception. And Paul says to me in his Boston accent, he goes, in my real name, Emmett, and he goes, Emmett, this isn't good. Jordan just got traded. And I'm watching Jordan and now his beautiful wife, Heather, they're going around to tell everybody, thanks for coming. All the Penguins are there. And, and Paul goes, I got to go break in his Boston accent. I got to go break it to him. You were in the wedding up there on the lead table, Mark. What do you remember about, when did you get the news that Jordan had gotten dealt? And what do you remember about that moment?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was obviously Jordan's wedding day, and there were some rumors and speculation. Obviously, the whole day we knew something could possibly happen, but you never really expect it. We were sitting up there, like we're just finishing dinner, maybe, or just before dinner.
Yeah.
And yeah, Paulie comes up to the table. I'm sitting right next to Jordan. He goes, Jordan, yeah, hurricane.
Yeah, Kane. You're a Kane.
Yeah, Kane. And then he walked away, and I was just like, so I was sitting there like, oh my goodness. And like, obviously Jordan's shocked, and Heather's like, doesn't know what to do. Like, she starts like almost crying. I don't know. It was crazy. I'm rewriting my speech. I had like 10 jokes lined up, and I had to rewrite everything for some people. But no, it was crazy. Yeah, man, that's the life as a hockey player, man. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, you're just cattle, tell you where to go.
What? Moo. Hey, Jordan, what do you remember about the moment that Paul told you?
Yeah, I mean, Mark pretty much nailed it. I blame it on Eric. I think it was honestly, we were in the middle of trying to get the wedding figured out and all this stuff, and getting close to it. And they were trying to sign me extension in Pittsburgh, and all as Eric said, he only said a couple words. Said, if you sign that extension, we'll never play together, and that's all he said. And then I was just like, oh, okay. And then so the more I kind of thought about it, prayed about it, and I talked to Heather about it, but she didn't really have much on that. So I kind of went with my gut, and I thought playing with Eric, having the opportunity to play with your brother in NHL, and being a 1-2 centerman and stuff like that, it sounded just amazing. So I turned down the Pittsburgh deal, and then from there the rumors just started, and I still have 1 year left, but they decided to move me on, which Ray Shiro did an unbelievable job of putting me where I wanted to go, which was really nice of him. Just so happened to be in the middle of my wedding, though. So it was tough. Obviously, all my Penguin friends were there. To obviously add to the emotional day of getting married and moving on. You're moving on from all your friends from there too. So there's a couple tears out in the back. Talking to the fellas from there, and they were obviously very supportive. And it actually turned out to be an unbelievable night to kind of have a send off with a couple drinks, and it turned out to be a good night.
I'm going to stay with you, Jordo, because, first of all, everybody in attendance, because Mark got married second after Eric. And, Mark and I had become, quite close at that point, and we were friendly, but I'm not quite sure how I made the invite list, okay? And all I can remember about Mark's wedding is I had no idea, really. I'm an analyst, but Matt Zuccarello's running around. I'm like, who's this little guy running around the wedding like an Energizer bunny? and what do you remember most about Mark's wedding? Because that one was a doozy.
Yeah, there was. They've all been pretty good. I think pretty much all of us got married in that same room. There's only about one hotel that can handle that many people in Thunder Bay, so we all in that same spot. So a lot of good memories in that area, and Mark's was no different than the rest of them. But Yeah, I do remember the Ranger boys. I actually mostly remember Mark basically going through that whole table and chirping every one of them about different stuff. And Zooks being one of them as well. But yeah, always a lot of fun. Obviously all the NHL guys are usually pretty good dudes, so we had a lot of fun.
Salt of the earth guys like Thunder Bay guys. Mark, I mean, it's a whirlwind. You and your wife Lindsay, you just gotten married. What do you remember most about your wedding night there at the Valhalla? That's the location for all 4 Staal weddings.
Yeah, well, I remember a few months prior getting pressured by my parents to invite someone called Tripp. And I was like, who's Tripp? I'm like, I don't know who this Tripp guy is.
Wedding crasher.
And they're like, yeah, like he's like, he's a nice guy. Like, just, I think it'd be nice if you invited him. I'm like, all right. I'll you can come. So, I know we had a good crew. I mean, I was pretty young. We had a bunch of the boys come up. I think I had like 8 or 9 guys. Some guys I played junior with come, and yeah, I mean, it was a good day. I mean, it was a lot of fun. So I remember a lot of chirping. I think the reason why I chirped all my teammates is that they made their way up to the mic throughout the night, and we're giving it to me pretty good. So I had to return fire. I couldn't let it stand.
You know where I stand with regards to your sense of humor, Mark. Who in the Rangers in your locker room has the best sense of humor right now?
There's a few guys. I mean, Ryan Strom's pretty funny. Tony DeAngelo is pretty funny. Ryan Lindgren makes me laugh for some reason. It's one of those guys that just can say anything and it'll make you giggle. So he's a pretty funny guy. But yeah, we got a pretty good crew in our room.
Jordo, in your room?
I think Marty Party is always a good time. It always makes me laugh. Broxo, and then the guy that can just talk your ear off and is actually quite funny is Zinger as well. So, we got a good crew of guys too. We obviously are going to be spending a lot of time together, and it's been a lot of good laughs already. So I'm excited to hopefully keep doing it.
Ryan DeZingle, you mentioned Zinger. What about just a follow-up, a guy that Mark's going to be trying to get in his kitchen? What about Bosa, Teravainen? He's like a silent assassin on the humor train, isn't he?
He is really, really funny, sneaky funny. But yeah, he doesn't. I wouldn't say he raises his voice very loud, but just under his breath, if you catch it just right, it's usually something pretty hilarious. So he's one of those guys that can always keep you laughing if you stay patient around him and hear him out.
Mark, watching your games as closely as I have, and I think Tony DeAngelo, your partner on the blue line, would be the first guy to say what you've done for the breakout really in his young NHL career. Why has that partnership worked? Brady Shea made it very clear that he was very close with DeAngelo when he dug in a few weeks ago. You just mentioned his sense of humor. Why has it worked for you and Tony on and off the ice?
Well, I think, Tony's offensive ability, I think, kind of speaks for itself. And for me, just, settling him down, settling our D zone down, talking to him, getting him the puck, I think had made him more comfortable and, to do what he does and feel more confident in making a play if he sees something, or jumping up if he sees something, because he knows I'll be back there and doing the best I can to back him up. And so yeah, it's worked well. We played well together, and hopefully we can continue that in this first series.
And a follow, his podcast that he started, I believe, with his brother is now on hold. But am I correct? Even though I crashed your wedding and barely made the invite list, have you dug in before you've joined his podcast? Can I at least take that with me?
You are the first podcast. Yes, I've come on. So you're numero uno, my friend.
Me too, brother.
Jordo, everybody, I'm here in Raleigh because that's where I am. that all the young Caniacs, the kids are now, I want to grow my hair like Jordan Staal. They're comparing it to Thor. Where did this happen? Because you wear it well.
Oh, I thank you. I don't know. I mean, probably the biggest reason is that my wife's not around to make me cut it. So I got about as long as I have in this bubble before it's probably going to be gone again. But yeah, I mean, I'm like Hank right now. I'm holding on for dear life. I feel like I'm slowly slipping away in the receding line. So I'm letting it go until it won't be there anymore. So just enjoying my time with it.
Thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, my dad was like around 40 when he started to go. So I'm like,
it's coming.
I'm turning 30. I'm turning 34. I got like 6 years left. But I got my. There's no way mine's going anywhere. I got thick, luscious locks.
Give me a look at the top. Give me a look at
nice
the top of your
top.
It looks good. Doesn't look like there's anything.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I should be all right, but you never know. Like Hank had full luscious head hair too, and then when I was 8 years old, I was doing the baldometer by him, and it was going off right on him. So, yeah, we'll see.
Mark, what kind of uncle is Jordan?
I mean, just obviously, just like being a dad. He's a good uncle. He's a good dad. I have 3 kids. He has 3. My brother has 3. My other brother has 1. So, I mean, when we get together, it's madness. So, no, but he's a good uncle. Plays with the kids, obviously, and our girls are very, very similar in age, so they get along really well. So, it's always a lot of fun. I mean, I do give out the most fruit snacks, so I think I might be number 1. So when anybody that walks in my house in the summer is getting a handful of candy. So I think I'm number 1 on everyone's list. I think Abigail even said it. I think Eric.
Now you go. Okay, I stopped you now.
Didn't she not? She did. And I think Eric was so bitter.
Oh, that actually did ask that. Yeah.
And then Eric was so bitter that he said and he was for a week straight. He was asking.
Started handing out Oreos every day.
Yeah. So, you just got to bribe him.
Gordon, any stories about Mark? By the way, you might want to send some of those fruit snacks my way because I was busting out of my suit calling the game off the monitor yesterday.
Mark, he's just like he is with his kids or with anyone really. I think he's got obviously a great sense of humor, so he can even push a little 5-year-old button sometimes and makes it for pretty entertaining. Or he'll even use my kids to piss me off at times. So that's basically what his motives are. So he'll get my daughter to say or think that playing this little instrument thing or whatever is the best sounding thing he's ever heard, and she'll proceed to play it for the rest of the day in my ear. So it's an unbelievable time. Unfortunately, this summer didn't quite work out, but we got the 3 lake houses all in a row with nine kids all together, and we have a blast. So it's always a good time, and everyone's got trying to be a good uncle and a good dad all at once. So it's fun.
Mark, I'm going to share something for the first. I don't think you guys know about this. You were talking about just the amazing woman with the gigantic heart that your mom has, and right after it had to be 3-4 days after Eric got traded from being with Jordan in Carolina to being with you in New York, Mark. Canes were in Tampa. It's the night before, and your mom and dad, who spent some time in South Florida there, they were hanging out in the sports bar at the Marriott Hotel. And I actually broke down talking to your mom, thinking about, because Eric meant a ton to me as a Hurricane through and through. And I was happy for him to get an opportunity to try to win with you in New York. But it was emotional. And I guess I would just ask you, you've been asked before, but Mark, and then I'll ask you, Jordan, what are the biggest things that you've extracted from Eric's role as the oldest of the 4 boys?
Well, I think he was the one that did everything first. So, he had to leave home first. He had to, kind of go through everything. And when we did it, it was easier, it was easier for my parents. There's less anxiety from them to us. And because we saw Eric go through it, So he really had, the tougher time kind of breaking through and doing all these things. And we kind of just got to, have fun and follow along, it felt like. So, and, you obviously know Eric really well, and the kind of person he is and the example he set for us as younger brothers, it's pretty exceptional. So definitely someone that, I've always looked up to. And I was fortunate to play with him for 20 games. It was a quick 20. It's like I blinked my eyes and it was gone, but definitely cherish that moment as well. So but it was a lot of fun and yeah.
Jordan, Eric?
Yeah, Big E. I mean, Mark kind of nailed it. I mean, definitely he did pave the way, if you want to say it, for us, hockey wise, made it a lot easier for us to understand how to do things and how to be a pro and how to make sure that you're putting yourself in the right situations to make that next step. But just on and off the ice, I mean, off the ice, he's no better example of how you want to carry yourself and how you want to live your life and how you treat others. And, he's been exactly like Mark said, a guy that I've looked up to my whole life and tried to follow in footsteps as much as I could. Just an unbelievable example of just the way you want to do it.
Mark, you were hurt at the time. I can remember it vividly, looking down in the opening faceoff, Canes versus Rangers, and Jordan, Eric, and Jared starting the game all on a line for the Hurricanes. What do you remember about that? Boy, that's exciting thinking about it.
Yeah, that was exciting and really hard at the same time, because it was really near the end of the season. That was the year I hurt my eye, I'm pretty sure. And I was trying to come back, and I think I was getting closer. Right, I thought I was ready, and I think I was a little naive at the time. But I remember sitting up there and watching the starting lineup and wanting to be out there with them. I thought that would have been so cool. But the fact that I was actually in the building to get to see Jared's first NHL game and I got to watch it was very cool and very exciting. He actually played an unbelievable game. He almost scored in overtime, and we need to win. We need to win overtime to get in the playoffs. So it was a big game for us. But I found a lot of my time cheering for Jared. So it was a unique game. But definitely something I always remember.
Yeah, Jared had some great A's. And Jordan, what do you remember about when you found out? Hey, here's what the opening lineup is going to be in the locker room.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Obviously, I was just excited to see little Jay he was on my line too. So it was crazy. It was so cool. You could tell he had some nerves at the same time, just super excited to be there. And we were even more excited to have him. So it was an unbelievable experience. You can't, it's hard to even describe, obviously, just having a starting lineup with three brothers. I mean, it's crazy, really. You start thinking about it. So, and then should have your brother on the other blue line, on the ice. So it was a real pinch yourself moment. Mom and dad were there, and it was a really cool moment for our whole family and all the work that we've all put into this game, and to be rewarded like that. I thank Jimmy for giving that opportunity, and it was a really special day.
It's Hall of Famer Jimmy Rutherford you mentioned, and Mark, you guys have your own rooms growing up, bunk beds. I mean, what was the deal?
It was me and Eric and Jordan and Jared, and we were like, our doors are right across from each other in the hallway. So, we shared a room till I was 13. Eric left. He was 16 to go play junior. And then since then we got our own rooms. But it was a lot of my mom holding one door shut while my dad tried to get the other two in bed, and then my dad holding one door shut to make sure we just stay in our rooms and go to sleep. A lot of good memories.
Yeah. Anybody snore out of the four, Jordan?
Mark does. He's got the very small nostrils that they don't really breathe very well. So he mouth breathes all night long, and he wakes up with a pasty mouth every morning.
That's true.
And snores for us.
These nurses are having a hard time putting a Q-tip on my nose. They're like, where is
They have no
it?
problem with
like,
mine.
No.
Yeah, they haven't even reached it that far up mine. It's so big.
Mark, who was your first? You have your own room now, but who was your first roommate in the NHL? Were there any snoring issues?
No snoring issues. My first roommate was a guy by the name of Jason Strudwick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played a long time in the NHL. Just a awesome guy. Very, very nice guy. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, our first road trip, and sitting in bed, and then he starts doing sit-ups and drinking chamomile tea, and I was like, "What is going on? I don't know what this is," but you kind of just you're so, your eyes are so wide open that first year of things that, you're experiencing, how everyone's so different, and but it was a lot of fun. He was a good mentor, a good person to have for sure in my first year, because yeah, he was a pro's pro, and he understood how to do it day to day. So I don't drink chamomile tea or do sit-ups in my room, but I did take some good tidbits from him.
Jason Earl Grey Strudwick. Who was he? He is a super guy. Jordan, who was your first roommate?
I would say my first true roommate. I had a couple throughout the start, but was with Tyler Kennedy. So we were together for almost 5 years, maybe. Yeah, basically my whole term there in Pittsburgh. And talk about a snorer. He was a snorer, and we had. I mean, the only way I could do it was, I mean, when he rolled over, he was usually fine, but he'd fall asleep in literally 3 seconds. So every time he started snoring, I had basically a pile of pillows loaded up, ready to go. And if he was snoring, I'd just whip one at his face and roll over and act like nothing happened. And he would wake up and be like, "What?" And then he'd roll over and go back to sleep. And if he was still snoring, I'd throw another one. If he wasn't, then I'd have to go to sleep. But unbelievable dude. Talk about work ethic. He's a hardest working guy I've played with, and a line mate, so a good friend of mine. And he's still in Pittsburgh too. So,
boy, what a line in winning the cup! It was you and him and Matt Cook, wasn't it? What
yes,
a line!
That's right.
Hey, what? So I have to ask you, Hurricane Stanley Cup champion. He's in the bubble right now. I call him Petrus 1982 because he ages like a fine wine. Mark Recchi. So you lived with Mark Recchi. Give me some stories, because I've spent a few nights at that house with Petrus 82. You lived with him first a Penguin.
The Wrecking Ball, another great dude too. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. He was one of the best. Took me in like family, and treated me like gold. And I had the perfect gig. Talking about that first year, your eyes are wide open and you're soaking anything you can in, and watching him. I think what he did as a pro around the game, and was something that I definitely took into my account. And I got my own little guest cabin out in the backyard, so I had some space of my own. But I spent a lot of time with his 4 kids, and we had a lot of fun. And he taught me about red wine and a lot of that stuff. And we had some good glasses after games, and just broke down the game. And he's passionate for the game, and loved talking hockey and about players and the brothers and everything. So I had a lot of really good memories there. And, man, did he take care of me.
Well, he's a lifelong friend right there. Mark, other than Jason Strudwick, was there anybody, a teammate that really, a veteran player that helped you early in your Ranger career?
Yeah, I mean, I got to play with, a bunch of good players. Obviously there was Yager and Shanahan, Gomez, Jury. I think Gomez probably and Jury were my, the 2 guys when I got there that were kind of leaders in the room, and older guys that have been in the league a long time that have won championships. So guys that were very, very open and try to include you in dinners and having you over at your house. And they're both outstanding guys, and definitely had a big impact on me. And Wade Redden is another guy that when he came in was just a top-notch guy, and taught me a lot. So fortunate enough to play with a bunch of really good veteran guys when I was coming in.
I want to ask you both this question for your respective teams. When you look at that original six Rangers crest, Mark, you're one of those rarities that you've been with the Rangers your whole career. What makes you most proud to be a New York Ranger?
Well, obviously the fan base and the history of the team is so deep, and you don't really understand it until you've been in it for a while. And that could be anywhere in Canada, United States, and you're going to run into a Rangers fan. It's just inevitable. And that passion for the team definitely doesn't go unnoticed by the guys in the room. So we take that into every game and every practice, and then make sure that we're representing the organization the right way, and putting our work ethic in. And there's nothing more that the Rangers fan love more than a team that works hard. If you're going to give it your best and sacrifice and work hard, they'll cheer for you no matter what. So that's something that I've been proud to be a part of.
Jordan, here in Raleigh, the send-off this past Sunday when you went to the bubble was extraordinary from all the Caniacs. What makes you most proud to be not only a Hurricane, but the captain of the club?
Yeah, the Caniacs, man, they're passionate people. They love the game. They really do. It's obviously only been not as long as the Rangers or original six, but man, do they love hockey down there. And you could tell. I think to this day, I've never played in a louder building than PNC when it's bumping. And it's a fan base that craves wild, crazy hockey and just loves it. And it's a lot of fun to play in front of them. So just proud to be able to just be a captain of a team like that is an honor, and something I'm very proud of.
Guys, I'm going to ask you one or two more questions. I'm going to bid you adieu. This one's sort of deep. I hope you're willing to talk about it. You guys in a way that you don't shout it from the mountaintops, but having been to Thunder Bay the numerous times that I have, and just the way you live your lives, and the way you both have dealt with personal adversity in different ways, faith is a foundation. And Mark, how has your faith, I guess, been such a strong foundation at different points in your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that our whole family, grew up in and use daily. And it's something where when things aren't going well, and if things are going well, there's a lot to be thankful for. And when it's not, it's something where I think we use it to where you can't get so caught up in this stuff of the day to day, where you think it's such a massive deal, when there are bigger things out there where you worry about your family, your friends, and the way you act and the way you treat people. And it's something where in the business that we're in, where there's so much pressure, it's something where it just kind of releases all that to a higher power, and you get to just be in the moment and enjoy what you're doing, instead of getting so wrapped up in the expectations and the pressure. And I think that's obviously strictly from a professional standpoint, but it's our faith is in every aspect of our lives and our families, and something that I think as we've gone more into our careers, have gotten more comfortable talking about and expressing, than we have in the past, and something that we will try to continue to do.
Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, can't add too much to Mark's answer. Faith, like I said, has been a part of our whole family and my whole life. It's like Mark said, something that we probably could do a better job of sharing more, and we have definitely been more comfortable as we've grown. And you know, you know, for me, leaning on God is what I do through the tough times and the good times. And um, you know, Hannah was a big one for myself and Heather. God was there for us and my family and friends. So it's something that it just gives you peace, and something that I think in a high pressure situation, in a high pressure job, something that you can always lean back on, and someone that is going to be there for you every time. And I think we've all used that in different times in our lives a lot more, on and off the ice. And it's something that will continue for us our lives.
Jordan, as your friend, you taught me a lot through that experience a few years ago. And thank you for that as your friend, because you've made me better. Okay, completely. I just have to ask this question because we were joking about it offline. Mark's well-documented sense of humor. Believe it or not, guys, years ago in Michigan, I had the same driver's ed teacher as Madonna. And so I'm watching Letterman. I don't know how many years ago it is. And, the Rangers are on. And all of a sudden there's 3 or 4 Rangers like carrying Madonna down through the audience and onto the stage. Mark was one of them. I mean, did you, Mark, with your one-lining ability, pushing the right buttons, did you say anything to Madonna?
Did I? No, I was terrified. I thought we were gonna drop her. Honestly, I was shocked that she agreed to do it. We literally had her on 2 hockey sticks,
right? Yeah,
and 3 horizontal hockey sticks, and they weren't together. They were floating. You're sliding around, and we had to go underneath the door, down a thing. I was like, she is falling 100%. But yeah, no, that was a pretty surreal experience, to be honest. I was like, I don't get too nervous too often, but I was super nervous for that. And reading one of the lines of the top 10 for David Letterman, that was kind of like a huge New York kind of look where I am moment. So, yeah, Madonna slipped me her number when she left. I don't know, not a big deal. I don't really want to talk about it, but
I need to bring that
up. But yeah, that is what it is. But it was a cool experience.
Gosh, you must have really made a good impression if she slipped you your number, because it's well documented. She's a huge caniac.
Yeah.
Okay. In closing, guys, Jordan, I'll go to you first. I want you to finish this sentence for me. The Hurricanes are going to get out in front of this series come noontime on Saturday, if?
The Hurricanes are going to come out front if we play the way we know we can. Having the break we've had and kind of jumping into practices are what they are. But I think everyone can talk about that exhibition game we played, and it is what it is. But jumping straight into a game is off of 3 months is different than jumping into playoffs after playing 82 straight games. So it's a team that figures it out the quickest, and the team that limits the mistakes, because it's probably going to be a little bit sloppier. That's going to find a way to win. So the game that we play is a simple game, and if we get to that quickly, we're going to have a better chance than most.
Mark, the Rangers are going to get out in front of this thing if?
I think, if we play our A game, that's it. We got to play our best, and Carolina's a really, really good, tough hockey team. There's no denying that. I think we need our best, and it's going to take our best to beat them. So, if we come in and play our best hockey right off the start, which is what we're expecting to do, that'll go well for us.
Boys, I'm so privileged to call you both dear friends. I want to tell you, as I tell you, thanks for digging in and digging in deep. Having been at the weddings for both of you, boy, memorable occasions. If I ever get married, and all friends and family think that ship has sailed, if it hasn't happened at 46, you've made the cut. I'll expect a toast from you, Mark.
Oh, I can't wait for
blessing
Mark's on
from
the
you,
mic.
Joel.
I'm already
I'm
writing
good with
it.
that. Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you Saturday for opening face-off. And thanks so much for digging in. Well, thank you so much, Jordan and Eric. So that was a treat. That was a treat. Can't wait for game one shortly. Really, 12, 14 hours from now. And I want to encourage everybody on our podcast, YouTube platforms. I want you to rate and tell us, where we're at. How can we be better? What do you think? Let us know. You can also go always to our Twitter and Instagram handles @digin. Whatever. I got that wrong. Who cares? @digintrip. I'm tired. It's been a long show. And it's been a long show because we're able to really have a lot of runway. A lot of runway because of our great sponsors. Allstate Fastener Corp., leading fastener distributor in the world, allstatefastener.com. Vintage Wine Company, ooh, baby. Any type of, after you dig in, you probably need this. Any type of the nectar of the gods, wholesale needs in the state of Michigan, VWCMI.com. And now our new sponsor, thanks once again, Data 443 Software. They make no bones about the fact they're big Caniacs, so they're pulling for Jordan and the Hurricanes against Mark and the Rangers. Saturday noontime is when it all kicks off, when we've learned more about how these two brothers are going to approach it, put the brotherhood aside. Let's see who emerges victorious. Boy, when you look at all things data security, again, I look at it. I have these boots. I should have been in the Wild West. Kurt Russell was in Tombstone once upon a time, joined our Hurricanes TV booth. Big time came. That's a true story in Vancouver years ago. But because of Data 443, I can look for sports teams as they're using any type of planning, management, playbooks, where you're supposed to be, where's the meal going to be, all these needs. Data 443 has it covered. Data at 443.com. And is it ever icing on the cake? They're big Caniacs. So thank you to Data 443. Boy, this is going to be fun. It's all for real shortly. We'll be back with more digging in next week. Until then, go Canes.
We're digging in with Tripp today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today.